The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 12 different alien races sat around a massive circular table, their faces showing fear and worry. Some had 4 eyes, others had tentacles instead of arms, and a few looked like walking trees. But they all shared the same terrified expression. At the center of the table, a holographic display showed their galaxy. Red spots marked where the chaos had struck. Each red spot meant a dead world. Each red spot meant millions of lives lost. Council Prime Veltara stood up. She was tall and blue, with skin that looked like flowing water. Her voice shook as she spoke. "We have lost another system," she said. "The Keltar system is gone. All 7 planets. Gone in 3 days." The other council members made sounds of sadness and fear. The Althorians clicked their beaks. The Zephyrians buzzed their wings. The crystalline beings rang like broken bells. "How many does that make?" asked Council Member Thexara. His rocky skin was turning darker gray, a sign of deep worry among his people. 47 systems, Veltara replied. "In just 6 months." The silence that followed was heavy. 47 systems meant billions of dead beings. It meant empty worlds floating in space like grave markers. Ambassador Hyunwoo, the only human in the room, watched quietly. He was shorter than most of the aliens, with dark hair and calm eyes. The other council members barely noticed him. Humans were new to the galaxy. Their technology was basic. Their ships were slow. Most aliens thought humans were not very important. "What is our next plan?" asked Council Member Yixolan. His green tentacles moved nervously as he spoke. Veltara touched a control, and the holographic display changed. Now it showed the chaos itself. It looked like a storm made of black lightning and purple fire. It moved through space like a living thing, eating everything in its path. "We have tried everything," Veltara said. "Our best scientists cannot understand it. Our strongest weapons cannot stop it. Our most powerful shields cannot block it." She was right, and everyone knew it. The Althorians had tried their reality-bending technology. The chaos ate it. The Zephyrians had used their time control devices. The chaos moved backward through time and destroyed them anyway. The crystalline beings had created perfect energy barriers. The chaos had walked through them like they were made of air. "It is not just destroying our worlds," continued Veltara. "It is changing them, making them wrong. Plants grow backwards into the ground, water flows upward. Gravity pushes instead of pulls. Our people go insane just looking at it." Hyunwoo leaned forward slightly. This was the first time he had heard details about what the chaos actually did. It sounded terrible, but also interesting. "Where did it come from?" he asked. All eyes turned to him. Some of the aliens looked surprised that he had spoken. Others looked annoyed. "We do not know," Veltara admitted. "It appeared near the galactic core 6 months ago. At first, we thought it was a natural space storm. Then it began to grow and spread and think." "Think?" Hyunwoo asked. "It learns," said Dr. Morden, the Council's chief scientist. His 4 eyes blinked in different patterns. "Every time we attack it, it adapts. Every defense we build, it finds a way around. It is like fighting an enemy that becomes smarter with each battle." The holographic display showed battle footage. Massive alien warships fired energy beams at the chaos. The first few shots seemed to hurt it. Then the chaos began to absorb the energy and grow stronger. The ships tried to retreat, but the chaos moved faster than their engines could carry them. "Our military leaders say we need to evacuate the galaxy," Veltara said. Her voice sounded defeated. "They want us to load our people onto generation ships and flee to another galaxy. But even that might not work. The chaos could follow us." "How long do we have?" asked Council Member Brixtel. "At its current rate of expansion, it will reach all Council worlds within 2 years," Dr. Morden replied. "Maybe less." The room fell silent again. 2 years to evacuate billions of beings from hundreds of worlds. It was impossible. Hyunwoo studied the display carefully. The chaos moved in patterns that looked random, but he suspected they were not. It reminded him of something from Earth, something he had seen during the old wars. Has anyone tried not fighting it? He asked. The alien stared at him like he had grown a second head. Not fighting, Veltara repeated. Ambassador Hyunwoo, this thing destroys everything it touches. How can we not fight it? On Earth, we had something called guerrilla warfare, Hyunwoo explained. Sometimes the best way to fight an enemy is not to fight them directly. You adapt to them. You use their strength against them. You become unpredictable. Your species is young, said Council Member Thexara, his rocky face showing impatience. You do not understand the power we face. This is not some primitive conflict on your world. This is a force that can unmake reality itself. Hyunwoo nodded politely, but he did not back down. Maybe that is exactly why you cannot beat it. You are thinking like advanced civilizations. Order, structure, logic. But this thing seems to hate order. Dr. Mordan's 4 eyes focused on Hyunwoo, with new interest. Continue. Every species here has spent thousands of years building perfect societies, Hyunwoo said. Perfect technology, perfect plans, perfect solutions. But humans, we are not perfect. We are messy. We make mistakes. We argue with each other. We do stupid things just to see what happens. And you think this helps you how? Asked Veltara. Maybe the chaos attacks order because order is boring, Hyunwoo said. Maybe it wants chaos to balance things out. If that is true, then fighting it with perfect plans and perfect weapons will only make it stronger. The aliens looked at each other. Some seemed interested. Others looked like they thought Hyunwoo was crazy. What are you suggesting? Veltara asked. Let me talk to my people, Hyunwoo said. Give us some data about the chaos. Let us study it. Maybe we can find a different approach. Council member Yixolan laughed, a sound like water bubbling. The humans want to study the thing that destroyed our greatest civilizations? With what? Your tiny ships and basic computers? Sometimes basic tools work when advanced ones fail, Hyunwoo replied calmly. Veltara looked around the table. The other council members were desperate. They had no other ideas, no other hope. Very well, she said finally. We will share our data with Earth. But we need results quickly. Every day we wait, more worlds die. As the meeting ended, Dr. Mordan approached Hyunwoo privately. Do you really think your people can help? The alien scientist asked. Hyunwoo smiled. It was not a happy smile, but it was confident. Doctor, humans have survived ice ages, world wars, plagues, and disasters that should have killed us all. We have a saying on Earth, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Maybe it is time to see if that works on a galactic scale. Dr. Mordan watched as the human ambassador walked away. Deep in his scientist's mind, a small hope began to grow. Maybe the young, chaotic humans could see something that all their advanced wisdom had missed. Outside the council chamber, space itself was waiting. In the distance, barely visible, the chaos continued its slow dance toward the core worlds. It had no idea that somewhere in the galaxy, a species that had never learned to fear the impossible was getting ready to meet it. The game was about to change. 3 weeks after the Galactic Council meeting, Dr. Somin sat in her laboratory on Earth. She stared at the data the aliens had sent. Charts, graphs, and videos of the chaos filled her screens. Every piece of information showed the same thing: complete destruction. This is incredible, she whispered to herself. Her assistant, Junho, looked up from his computer. Incredible how? Incredibly terrifying? No, Somin said, her eyes bright with excitement. Incredibly beautiful. Look at these patterns. She pointed at a video showing the chaos moving through space. To most people, it looked like a storm of destruction. But Somin saw something else. She saw dancing. It is not random, she continued. It is responding to something. Watch how it moves faster near organized fleets, but slows down near asteroid fields. Junho moved closer to look. You think it likes messy things better than organized things? Maybe, Somin said. Or maybe it gets excited by too much order. like it wants to shake things up. Meanwhile, in Earth's military headquarters, Commander Jin Ho was having a very different conversation. "Sir, with respect, this is insane," said Captain Nari. She stood at attention, but her voice showed her worry. "The aliens want us to what?" "They want us to observe the chaos up close," Jin Ho replied. He was a calm man used to dangerous missions. "They think we might see something they missed. By getting our ships close to something that destroyed entire civilizations?" Jin Ho smiled. "Captain, remember when we were kids and our parents told us not to touch the hot stove?" "Yes, sir. Did you listen?" Nari's serious expression cracked a little. "No, sir, I touched it anyway." "And what happened?" "I learned exactly how hot it was, sir." "Exactly," Jin Ho said. "The aliens are like careful parents. They see danger and stay away. But humans? We touch the hot stove. We learn things that careful people never learn." Across Earth, the news about the chaos spread quickly. The government tried to keep it secret at first, but humans are terrible at keeping secrets. Soon everyone knew about the galaxy-eating monster, heading toward human space. The reaction was not what anyone expected. Within hours, Earth's communication networks were buzzing with excitement. Social media exploded with posts like, "Finally, something interesting," and "When do we get to fight the space monster?" Admiral Taemin watched the public response from his office. His aide, Lieutenant Min-Soo, looked confused. "Sir, should we be worried about panic in the streets?" Min-Soo asked. "Look outside," Taemin said. Min-Soo looked out the window. Instead of people running and screaming, he saw crowds gathering around public screens. They were watching news reports about the chaos and cheering. "They are excited," Min-Soo said, sounding amazed. "Of course they are," Taemin replied. "Humans have been looking at the stars for thousands of years, wondering what is out there. Now something truly alien is coming to visit. They see it as the ultimate adventure." The military recruitment offices had lines around the block. Veterans who had been retired for years were trying to sign up again. Even civilians with no military training wanted to volunteer. Captain Nari found herself in charge of screening volunteers. One old man, at least 70 years old, insisted he should be allowed to join the space fleet. "Sir, you are too old for active duty," Nari explained gently. "Too old?" The man laughed. "Young lady, I lived through 3 wars, 2 economic crashes, and raised 5 children. You think some space storm is going to scare me?" Similar scenes played out across Earth. A group of extreme sports athletes started a petition to be the first humans to surf the chaos. Video game streamers began planning to broadcast their encounters with it live. A restaurant chain announced plans to open a location as close to the chaos as legally possible. Dr. Soman received a call from her old friend Boram, who now worked as a professional stunt pilot. "Soman, I heard you are studying the space monster," Boram said, her voice full of excitement. "Can you get me clearance to fly near it?" "Boram, this thing destroyed entire star systems. It is not a stunt." "Exactly. When will I ever get another chance to fly near something this dangerous? This is like climbing Mount Everest, but in space." So Min realized that Boram was not crazy. She was typically human. Humans had always been drawn to dangerous things. They climbed mountains because they were there. They explored oceans filled with giant squids. They built rockets and shot themselves into space just to see what would happen. The chaos was simply the biggest, most dangerous thing humans had ever encountered. Of course, they wanted to poke it with a stick. 3 days later, Captain Nari found herself in command of the first human ship to approach the chaos. Her crew was a mixture of military personnel and volunteers. They included a retired astronaut, 2 physicists, a professional photographer, and someone whose job title was Chaos Enthusiasm Coordinator. As they flew closer, the chaos filled their main screen. It looked like a storm made of liquid night, with purple lightning dancing through it, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "Readings are off the charts," reported Ensign Wu Jin from the sensor station. "Energy levels are impossible. This thing should not exist." "But it does exist," Nari replied. "So let us figure out what it wants." The alien observers, watching from a safe distance, expected the human ship to be destroyed instantly. Instead, something strange happened. The chaos noticed the human ship and moved toward it. But instead of attacking, it seemed curious. Tendrils of chaotic energy reached out and touched the ship's hull gently, like fingers trying to understand what they were feeling. "Captain," Wu Jin said, his voice full of wonder. "It is not trying to destroy us. It is studying us?" Nari made a decision that would be talked about for generations. Instead of retreating, she ordered the ship to move closer. "All stop," she commanded. "Let it look at us." For 10 minutes, the chaos examined the human ship. Energy patterns that should have torn the vessel apart instead danced around it like curious pets. The crew watched in amazement as reality bent and twisted around them, but somehow left them unharmed. Then the chaos did something it had never done before. It communicated, not with words or pictures, but with feelings. Emotions flooded the minds of the human crew. Loneliness, boredom, a desperate hunger for something new and interesting. Nari understood immediately. "You are tired of perfect things, are not you?" she said out loud. "You want to play with something that fights back." The chaos pulsed brighter, and the crew felt a wave of excitement that was not their own. "Well," Nari said, grinning, "you came to the right species. We do not know how to be perfect, but we are very good at being interesting." She opened a communication channel to Earth. Her message was brief and would become legend. "Mission Control, this is Captain Nari. The chaos is not a destroyer. It is bored. It has been eating perfect civilizations because they are no fun to play with. But humans, we are the opposite of perfect. We are exactly what it has been looking for." She paused, then added the words that would change galactic history. "Requesting permission to invite the chaos to Earth. I think it wants to be friends." Back on Earth, Admiral Taman listened to the message and smiled. Around him, his staff looked shocked, terrified, and excited all at once. "Permission granted, Captain," he replied. "Bring our new friend home. Let us show it what real chaos looks like." Across the galaxy, alien observers watched in disbelief as humans prepared to welcome the most dangerous force in known space with open arms and party decorations. The universe was about to become a much more interesting place. 2 months after first contact with the chaos, Earth had become the strangest place in the galaxy. Purple energy storms danced above major cities. Gravity worked sideways in some neighborhoods. Plants grew in impossible colors, and time moved at different speeds depending on where you stood. Most species would have evacuated. Humans threw street parties. Dr. Jae-sung walked through Seoul, notebook in hand, documenting everything. Around him, purple lightning jumped between buildings like playful cats. Above his head, a flock of birds flew backwards through time, landing before they took off. "Day 67 of chaos integration," he spoke into his recorder. "The entity seems to be testing different reality modifications in different areas. Gravity reversal in Sector 7, time loops in Sector 12. In Sector 15, all the coffee tastes like chocolate, which has actually improved business for local cafes." A woman jogged past him, running up the side of a building. She waved cheerfully as she ran across the ceiling of a bank. "The human population continues to adapt remarkably well," Jae-sung continued. "Gravity-defying sports have become extremely popular. The mayor is considering making physics-optional zones a permanent city feature." His phone buzzed. It was his colleague, Engineer Minji, calling from the space station. "Jae-sung, you need to see this," she said, her voice full of excitement. "I figured out how to use chaos energy as fuel." "Is that safe?" he asked, watching a group of children play catch with balls that phased through walls. "Define safe," Minji laughed. "But it works. Come up here. I want to show you something amazing." An hour later, Jae-sung was on the space station, looking at Minji's latest invention. It looked like a normal engine except for the purple energy swirling inside it like liquid fire. "Watch this," Minji said. She activated the engine. The space station immediately jumped 3 light-years across space, arriving near Jupiter in less than a second. "How?" Jae-sung gasped. "The chaos does not follow normal physics," Minji explained. "Distance is just a suggestion to it. If you ask nicely, it will take you anywhere you want to go instantly. You asked it nicely? Well, I said please. They jumped back to Earth orbit just as easily. Jae-sung stared at the readings on his instruments. According to every law of physics he knew, what they had just done was impossible. We need to tell the military about this, he said. Down on Earth, Sergeant Dong-hyun was having his own breakthrough. He led a team of soldiers exploring a chaos-affected forest where the trees grew downward and the ground was sometimes sky. This place should be driving us crazy, said Private Kyung-ho, stepping carefully around a puddle that was floating 3 feet above the ground. Why? Dong-hyun asked. It is just a forest with different rules. We adapt to different environments all the time. His team had been living in the chaos forest for 2 weeks. At first, they tried to fight the strangeness. They wore special suits and carried equipment to detect reality changes. But the equipment kept breaking, and the suits were uncomfortable, so they stopped fighting and started learning. They discovered that the floating puddles were actually portals to other parts of the forest. The upside-down trees grew fruit that tasted like music. The grass sometimes hummed lullabies that helped them sleep better than any bed. Sergeant, called Corporal Ji-won from ahead. You should see this. Dong-hyun walked over to where Ji-won was standing. In front of them was a clearing where reality was completely broken. Up was down, left was right, and purple was somehow a direction you could walk in. In the center of the clearing sat a creature made of pure chaos energy. It looked like a cross between a dragon and a storm cloud, with eyes like stars. Is it dangerous? Whispered Kyung-ho. The creature looked at them and made a sound like wind chimes mixed with thunder. Then it did something unexpected. It rolled over on its back like a giant puppy showing its belly. I think it wants to play, Dong-hyun said. He was right. The chaos creature had been alone for centuries, destroying perfect worlds because it was bored and lonely. But humans were different. They played back. Soon, Dong-hyun's entire squad was playing fetch with a creature that could unmake reality. They threw sticks that turned into butterflies. The creature caught them and turned them back into sticks. Everyone was having fun. This is the best assignment ever, laughed Ji-won as she petted the creature's cloudy fur. Meanwhile, at Earth's Space Command, Admiral Tae-min was reading reports that should have been impossible. Let me understand this correctly, he said to his aide, Colonel Hye-jin. Our soldiers are playing with chaos monsters. Our engineers are using chaos energy to power faster than light travel, and our citizens are treating reality distortions like tourist attractions. Yes, sir, Hye-jin replied. Also, the restaurant chain that wanted to open near the chaos, they did it. Business is booming. Apparently, food tastes better when cooked with impossible physics. And the aliens? Still watching from a safe distance. They keep asking if we need help evacuating. Tae-min laughed. Help evacuating? We are having the time of our lives. He was not exaggerating. Across human space, people were discovering new ways to work with chaos energy every day. Artists painted with colors that did not exist. Musicians played songs that could be seen as well as heard. Architects built buildings that were bigger inside than outside. Dr. Soman published a paper called Embracing Beautiful Disorder, A Human Guide to Chaos Symbiosis. It became required reading at universities across the galaxy, though most alien species could not understand it. The key, she wrote, is not to control chaos but to dance with it. Humans have always been comfortable with uncertainty. We make plans knowing they will change. We expect the unexpected. This makes us perfect partners for an entity that exists outside normal reality. But the most important discovery came from an unexpected source. Captain Nari had continued to spend time with the chaos, learning to communicate with it better. During one of their conversations, she learned something that changed everything. You are not trying to destroy the galaxy, she said to the swirling energy around her ship. You are trying to save it. The chaos pulsed with agreement, flooding her mind with images. She saw the galaxy as the chaos saw it. Too ordered, too perfect, slowly dying from lack of change. The other species have made everything too stable. Nari realized. No growth, no evolution, no surprise. You are like medicine. Bitter medicine that the galaxy needs but does not want to take. The chaos showed her more images. Civilizations that had become so advanced they stopped learning. Planets where nothing new had happened for thousands of years. Species that had achieved perfection and then stopped growing. But humans are different, Nari said. We never stop changing. We never become perfect. We keep making mistakes and learning from them. The chaos sent her a feeling of deep satisfaction. Finally, someone understood. Nari opened a communication channel to Earth and the Galactic Council at the same time. This is Captain Nari with an urgent message for all civilizations, she announced. The chaos is not our enemy. It is the galaxy's immune system. It attacks stagnation, not life. It destroys perfection, not progress. She paused, then delivered the message that would reshape galactic civilization. Every species that has been attacked by the chaos had one thing in common. They had stopped growing. They had achieved their perfect society, and then stopped changing. The chaos is trying to force evolution, to prevent the galaxy from dying of boredom. Back on Earth, people listened to Nari's message and nodded. It made perfect sense to them. Humans had never wanted to be perfect anyway. They were much more interested in being interesting. Within days, humans began teaching other species what they had learned. Not how to fight chaos, but how to dance with it. How to stay flexible in an uncertain universe. How to find joy in the unexpected. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the best way to handle chaos was not to handle it at all, but to let it handle you. And humans, being human, were eager to show everyone how much fun that could be. 6 months after the chaos arrived at Earth, the Galactic Council was in panic. Not because the chaos was destroying everything, but because it was not destroying humans. Council, Prime Veltara stared at the reports on her desk. Each one told the same impossible story. The chaos was retreating from other parts of the galaxy and gathering around human space. This makes no sense, she said to Dr. Mordan. We released the chaos near human worlds to test them. They were supposed to be destroyed, and we were supposed to learn from watching them die. Perhaps we did learn something, Dr. Mordan replied. His 4 eyes blinked thoughtfully. Just not what we expected. On the main screen, they watched live footage from Earth. Humans walked through purple energy storms like they were walking through rain. Children played games that required reality to bend. Adults commuted to work using chaos-powered teleportation. They are not just surviving, Veltara whispered. They are thriving. Dr. Mordan nodded. The chaos has completely left the Althorian system. The Zephyrian worlds report no chaos activity for weeks. It is all going to human space. Why? Because the humans are fun, said a new voice. Both aliens turned. Ambassador Hyunwoo stood in the doorway holding a cup of coffee that was somehow 3 different colors at once. Ambassador, Veltara said stiffly, you were not invited to this meeting. The chaos told me you were having problems, Hyunwoo replied calmly. It thought I should help. The chaos told you? Dr. Morden leaned forward. You can communicate with it? Anyone can if they know how to listen. But you have to stop being afraid first. Hyunwoo sat down without being invited. The chaos is not your enemy. It never was. He gestured to the screen, where a human news reporter was interviewing a creature made of swirling energy. That is Fluffy, Hyunwoo explained. She is a chaos entity that decided to become a talk show host, very popular on Earth, great ratings. Veltara stared at the impossible scene. A being of pure destructive force was sitting in a studio chair, somehow holding a microphone with tendrils of living energy. This is wrong, she said. The chaos destroys. It does not do interviews. Only because no one ever asked it to do interviews before, Hyunwoo replied. Humans ask different questions. On Earth, President Sujin was having a very important meeting. Her advisors sat around a table that was floating 3 feet off the ground, because the chaos in the building liked to make furniture float on Tuesdays. Madam President, said her chief of staff, The Galactic Council is demanding answers. They want to know how we tamed the chaos. We did not tame it, Sujin replied. We made friends with it. There is a difference. Her science advisor, Dr. Yejun, looked up from his tablet. Ma'am, I have been studying the data. The chaos is not just moving toward our space. It is happy. Its energy patterns show what can only be described as joy. Of course it is happy, Sujin said. For the first time in millions of years, it found someone who appreciates chaos for what it is. And what is that? Change. Growth. The force that prevents the universe from becoming boring. Meanwhile, General Wu Jin was forming something completely new in human military history. The Chaos Corps. The recruitment office was packed. People lined up around the block to join the first military unit designed to work with chaos instead of against it. What exactly will we be doing? Asked one volunteer, a former firefighter named Taeho. Aggressive peacekeeping through controlled pandemonium, Wu Jin replied seriously. We will teach other species how to handle chaos safely. Some civilizations are so rigid they break when anything unexpected happens. We will help them become more flexible. How? By showing them that chaos is not dangerous if you know how to dance with it. The first mission for the Chaos Corps came sooner than expected. The crystalline beings sent a desperate message to Earth. Their perfectly ordered homeworld was cracking. Literally, the planet is breaking apart, their message said. Without the chaos to provide balance, our too perfect order is destroying our world. Please help. Within hours, a Chaos Corps ship was on its way. General Wu Jin led the mission personally, along with a small team of chaos entities who volunteered to help. When they arrived at the crystalline homeworld, the situation was worse than expected. The planet's surface was covered in geometric cracks. The crystalline beings stood in perfect formations, afraid to move because any change might make the cracks worse. We do not understand, said the crystalline leader, a being that looked like a walking diamond. We achieved perfect order, perfect harmony. Why is our world dying? Because perfection is death, Wu Jin explained gently. Everything alive needs to change and grow. Your world is too stable. It needs some chaos to keep it healthy. But chaos destroys, the crystalline being said. We have seen it. Only when there is too much order, Wu Jin replied. Watch, he signaled to his team. The chaos entities spread across the planet's surface. Where they touched, the cracks began to heal, but not by returning to the original perfect pattern. Instead, they created new patterns. Beautiful, irregular, alive. Chaos does not destroy, Wu Jin explained as they watched. It breaks apart things that have become too rigid so they can grow into something new and better. Within days, the crystalline homeworld was transformed. The beings learned to incorporate small amounts of chaos into their daily lives. They started creating art that was not perfectly symmetrical. They built cities with curved streets instead of straight lines. They discovered that imperfection could be beautiful. Back at the Galactic Council, more reports arrived every day. The Zephyrians requested human teachers to help them add productive disorder to their time control technology. The Althorians wanted to learn how to make their reality bending less predictable, but the most shocking request came from Council Prime Velterra herself. We want to hire human chaos advisors, she announced to the council. One for each member. World. Are you insane? Asked Council Member Thexara. These humans consort with the most dangerous force in the galaxy. Exactly, Veltara replied. And they are the only ones who know how to live with it safely. Our civilizations are dying from too much perfection. We need to learn how to be imperfect without destroying ourselves. On Earth, the response to the Galactic Council's request was immediate and enthusiastic. Thousands of humans volunteered to become chaos advisors. They competed in tests that measured their ability to handle the unexpected and their skill at teaching others to embrace controlled chaos. Dr. Yejun published his most important research paper, The Chaos Principle: Why Perfect Order is Perfectly Wrong. In it, he proved that every civilization that had been destroyed by the chaos had made the same mistake. They had eliminated all uncertainty from their lives. Growth requires challenge, he wrote. Evolution requires change. Life requires a balance between order and chaos. The species that survive are not the strongest or the smartest, but the most adaptable. Ambassador Hyunwoo addressed the Galactic Council for the final time in his old role. Soon, he would become the first director of Galactic Chaos Management. You tried to use humans as test subjects, he said. You wanted to see how we would die so you could learn from our deaths. But humans do not die easily. We adapt. We improvise. We overcome. He paused, looking around the room at the alien faces. You gave us the greatest gift possible. You gave us the chaos, a force that challenges us, pushes us to grow, keeps us from becoming stagnant. And now we want to share that gift with the rest of the galaxy. But carefully, he added with a smile. We have learned that not everyone is ready for chaos all at once. Some species need to start small. Chaos training wheels, you might say. The Council voted unanimously to accept human help. For the first time in galactic history, the youngest species would become teachers to the oldest. As the meeting ended, Veltara approached Hyunwoo privately. How did your species know? She asked. How did you know that chaos was not evil? Hyunwoo thought for a moment. Because we never forgot that we came from chaos. Earth is a chaotic world. Earthquakes, storms, volcanoes, changing weather. We learn to dance with chaos before we learn to walk. Other species conquered their chaos and forgot about it. We just learned to dance better. Outside the council chambers, the chaos itself waited in space. But now it was different. Instead of a storm of destruction, it had become a garden of possibilities. Chaos entities played among the stars like cosmic dolphins, happy for the first time in eons. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place, and humans, being human, could not wait to see what happened next. 1 year after the chaos first arrived at Earth, the galaxy looked completely different. Ambassador Hyunwoo stood on the observation deck of the new Galactic Harmony Station. Through the windows, he watched something that would have been impossible a year ago. Chaos entities danced through space alongside alien ships. Purple lightning played between the stars like cosmic fireworks. Reality bent and twisted in beautiful patterns that made no scientific sense but somehow felt perfectly right. Status report, he said to his aide, Ji-hoon. All sectors report stable chaos levels, Ji-hoon replied, reading from his tablet. The Althorian system has achieved a 30-70 order-to-chaos ratio. The Zephyrians are up to 40-60. The crystalline worlds are holding steady at 50-50. And problems? Only one. The Caraxian Empire still refuses chaos integration. They claim it goes against their religious beliefs. Hyunwoo nodded. We knew some species would resist. What does their planet look like now? Ji-hoon showed him a picture on the tablet. The Caraxian homeworld looked like a perfect geometric shape. Every building was identical. Every street was straight. Every citizen wore the same clothes and walked at the same speed. Life expectancy on their world has dropped by 50% in the last year, Ji-hoon reported. Birth rates are near zero. Their scientists cannot figure out why. I can, said a new voice. They turned to see Master Chaos Rider Bo-Ram approaching. She no longer looked entirely human. Her hair floated like she was underwater, and her eyes held depths that seemed to go on forever. She was the first human to achieve complete fusion with a chaos entity, gaining abilities that most species considered impossible. The Caraxians are dying of perfection, Bo-Ram explained. Their world has become so ordered that nothing new can happen. No growth, no change, no surprises. Their souls are starving. Can we help them? Hyunwoo asked. Only if they ask, Bo-Ram replied. Chaos cannot be forced, it must be invited. Meanwhile, on Earth, life had become wonderfully strange. Dr. Soman walked through New Seoul, marveling at how the city had changed. Buildings grew like living things, expanding and contracting based on how many people needed space. Streets rearranged themselves to reduce traffic. Parks spontaneously appeared wherever people felt stressed. She stopped at her favorite coffee shop, where the barista was a chaos entity named Sparkle, who made drinks that tasted like emotions. "The usual?" Sparkle asked, her voice sounding like wind chimes. "Surprise me," So-min replied. Sparkle handed her a cup filled with liquid that looked like a sunset and tasted like the feeling of coming home after a long trip. "Perfect," So-min said, and meant it. At the nearby university, Professor Dong-hyun was teaching the galaxy's first course in applied chaos theory. His classroom was filled with students from dozens of species, all learning how to incorporate healthy amounts of disorder into their lives. "Who can tell me the 3 rules of chaos management?" he asked. A young Althorian raised her tentacle. "Rule 1, never try to control chaos, only guide it. Rule 2, always expect the unexpected. Rule 3, when in doubt, make it more interesting." "Excellent," Dong-hyun said. "Now for today's practical exercise, we are going to redesign the Zephyrian transportation system to include random delays that actually improve efficiency." His students groaned, but they were smiling. Chaos theory homework was never boring. Across the galaxy, the Chaos Advisor program had become wildly successful. Human advisors worked on alien worlds, teaching species how to add just enough disorder to keep their civilizations healthy. On the crystalline homeworld, advisor Min Su had convinced the beings to start a new tradition, Imperfection Day. Once a week, every crystalline being had to do something slightly wrong on purpose: paint a crooked line, sing off-key, wear mismatched colors. "It feels strange," admitted Crystal Leader Prism, "but also exciting. I have not felt excited in 3,000 years. "That is the point," Min-Su explained. "Excitement is growth. Growth is life." The results spoke for themselves. Crime rates dropped across the galaxy as beings learned to channel their restless energy into creative chaos instead of destructive behavior. Mental health improved as people stopped trying to be perfect. Art flourished as artists embraced beautiful mistakes. But the most important change happened in space itself. The chaos was no longer a destructive force wandering the galaxy. It had become part of the galactic ecosystem. Chaos entities worked, alongside space traffic controllers, helping ships navigate by bending space in helpful ways. They assisted scientists by creating impossible experiments that revealed new laws of physics. They even helped with farming, making crops grow in patterns that were both random and somehow more productive. Captain Nari, now promoted to Admiral, commanded the first joint fleet of human and alien ships powered entirely by chaos energy. They could travel anywhere in the galaxy instantly, simply by asking the chaos politely. "Destination?" asked her chaos navigator, an entity named Twisty, who looked like a friendly tornado. "Surprise us," Nari replied. "Find somewhere interesting." A moment later, they emerged in a system where 3 suns danced around each other in impossible orbits, creating rainbows in space. The crew cheered. This was much better than following boring, predictable flight plans. Back on the Harmony Station, Hyunwoo received an urgent message. It was from the Caraxian Empire. "Ambassador," the message began, "our world is dying. We have maintained perfect order for too long. Our people are becoming lifeless. We request chaos integration assistance." Hyunwoo smiled. It had taken longer than expected, but even the most rigid species eventually realized that some chaos was necessary for life. "Ji-hoon, contact Master Bo-Ram," he said. "Tell her we have a new patient." Within hours, Bo-Ram was aboard a ship heading for the Caraxian system. She brought with her a small, gentle chaos entity nicknamed Whisper. If anyone could help the Caraxians learn to embrace change gradually, it was Whisper. As the months passed, the transformation of the galaxy continued. The Galactic Council restructured itself completely. Instead of maintaining rigid order, they now served as gardeners of organized chaos. They made sure no world became too ordered or too chaotic, maintaining the balance that allowed life to flourish. Ambassador Hyunwoo was elected as the first director of Galactic Harmony. His inaugural speech was broadcast to every world in the galaxy. "1 year ago, we faced what we thought was the greatest threat in galactic history," he said. The chaos seemed like an enemy bent on destroying everything we had built. But we learned something important. The greatest threat to life is not chaos. It is the absence of chaos. He paused, looking out at an audience that included humans, aliens, and chaos entities all sitting together. Perfect order is perfect death. Perfect. Chaos is also death. But somewhere between perfect order and perfect chaos, there is a place where life dances, where growth happens, where new possibilities are born every day. The chaos was never our enemy. It was our teacher. It taught us that the universe is big enough for both structure and surprise, both plans and spontaneity, both safety and adventure. He smiled, the same calm smile he had worn during that first desperate council meeting. Today we are not a galaxy of separate species trying to maintain perfect control. We are a community of beings learning to dance together in the beautiful space between order and chaos. And that dance will never end, because the music of the universe is always changing. After the speech, Hyunwoo walked to his favorite spot, on the station. Through the huge window he could see Earth in the distance. Purple aurora danced around the planet like celebration ribbons. Children flew through the sky on chaos-powered hoverboards. Adults commuted to work through rainbow, portals that connected cities across the globe. A gentle chaos entity floated up beside him, its energy warm and friendly. "Happy?" it asked in the wordless way chaos entities communicated. "Very happy," Hyunwoo replied. "Are you?" The entity pulsed with contentment. For the first time in millions of years, it was not alone. It had friends across the galaxy. It had purpose. It had fun. "What is next?" the entity asked. Hyunwoo grinned. "I do not know. That is the best part." Far away at the edge of the galaxy, a human exploration ship prepared to jump into the unknown space beyond. The crew was excited to discover what new forms of beautiful chaos might exist among distant stars. Behind them, they left a galaxy where perfect order had learned to dance with perfect chaos, creating something more beautiful than either could achieve alone. And somewhere in the space between structure and surprise, between safety and adventure, between the known and the unknown, life continued its eternal dance of growth and change and wonder. The universe, it turned out, was exactly as chaotic as it needed to be.